Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up because we've got breaking news that's shaking the NFL to its very core. This is the kind of announcement that stops you in your tracks, makes you drop your phone, and has every football fan across the country buzzing with disbelief. The Dallas Cowboys, America's team, have just dropped a bombshell that no one saw coming. Trevon Diggs, their star cornerback, their Pro Bowl playmaker, the heart and soul of their secondary, is officially out. Gone. Released. Let's set the stage here. The NFL calendar has its rhythm, right? You've got OTAs, training camps, the preseason hype. It's all part of the flow. Fans get used to the cycle, the speculation, the roster tweaks. But every once in a while, something happens that rips through that routine like a lightning bolt. Today, May 9, 2025, is one of those days. Early this morning, whispers started trickling in, cryptic posts on XAs, little hints from insiders that something big was brewing in Dallas. At first, it sounded too wild to be true. Trevon Diggs? The guy with 18 interceptions in his first 3 seasons? The guy who signed a massive 5-year $97 million extension just last year? No way. It had to be a rumor, a misunderstanding, maybe some clickbait gone wild. But then the confirmation hit, and it was like a gut punch to Cowboys Nation. The Dallas Cowboys and Trevon Diggs are done. Over. Finished. And the fallout is already electric. So what happened? How did we get here? To understand this, we need to rewind a bit and peel back the curtain on what's been going on behind closed doors in Dallas. Trevon Diggs burst onto the scene like a supernova. Drafted in the second round in 2020 out of Alabama, he didn't just make an impact, he redefined what a cornerback could do. His ball-hawking instincts, his knack for turning interceptions into touchdowns, his swagger on the field, it was must-watch TV. In 2021, he led the NFL with 11 interceptions, earning all-pro honors and comparisons to legends like Deion Sanders. Fans loved him, teammates rallied around him, and the Cowboys saw him as a cornerstone of their defense for years to come. That's why, in July 2023, they locked him up with that massive $97 million deal. It wasn't just a contract, it was a statement. Trevon Diggs was the future. But then, the injury bug struck, and it struck hard. In 2023, Diggs tore his ACL, a brutal season-ending injury that left Cowboys fans holding their breath. An ACL tear is no small thing, especially for a player whose game relies on explosive cuts, lightning-fast reactions, and that extra gear to chase down receivers. Diggs attacked his rehab with determination, and by all accounts, he was making progress. He returned in 2024, but something wasn't quite right. He wasn't the same dominant force. Then came another blow, cartilage damage in the same knee, requiring surgery in December 2024. That procedure, a chondral tissue graft, sidelined him again, and the recovery timeline stretched into 2025. Suddenly, the Cowboys were facing a tough question. Could they count on Diggs to return to his all-pro form, or was the risk too great? Now, let's talk about the business side of this, because the NFL is a business, and the Cowboys front office plays chess, not checkers. That $97 million contract? It was a big bet on Diggs' future, but it came with some fine print. After 2025, there's no guaranteed money left on the deal. That means the Cowboys could cut ties without a massive financial hit down the road. Releasing him now, though, comes with a short-term cap, hit a big one. We're talking over $40 million in guaranteed money still owed. But here's the kicker. By making this move, the Cowboys are freeing up cap space for 2026 and beyond. They're betting that the long-term flexibility is worth the immediate pain. It's a cold, calculated decision, and it's got fans split right down the middle. Let's dive into the emotions here, because this isn't just about numbers and contracts. Trevon Diggs wasn't just a player, he was a fan favorite, a homegrown star who bled blue and silver. Cowboys Nation is reeling. If you've been on X today, you've seen the chaos. Fans are flooding social media with reactions. and it's a roller coaster. Some are furious, feeling betrayed by a front office that's made bold moves before but never one this shocking. How do you let a guy like Diggs walk? One fan posted, "This is Jerry Jones playing 4D chess and losing." Others are more pragmatic, pointing out the harsh reality of the NFL. "Injuries change the game," another user wrote. "If Diggs can't be 100%, we can't tie up that kind of money." The debate is raging, and it's not just fans, analysts, pundits, and even players are chiming in. Speaking of players, what's the vibe inside the Cowboys locker room? According to sources, it's a mixed bag. Some teammates are stunned, blindsided by the news. Diggs was a leader, a tone setter, the kind of guy who could change a game with one play. Losing him isn't just a hit to the depth chart, it's a hit to the team's soul. But others, reportedly, saw the writing on the wall. Diggs had been absent from key team activities in recent weeks, and while the official story was about rehab, insiders are now saying there was more to it. Communication between Diggs and the team had started to break down. Trust was eroding. There were whispers of disagreements over recovery timelines, defensive schemes, maybe even Diggs' role in the team's long-term plans. When you combine that with the financial commitment and the uncertainty around his health, the decision starts to make a twisted kind of sense. Let's talk about Trevon Diggs himself for a moment, because this story isn't just about the Cowboys, it's about a man whose career is at a crossroads. Sources close to Diggs say he's devastated. He believed he was doing everything right, grinding through rehab, staying focused, trusting that the Cowboys had his back. To be cut loose like this, it feels like a betrayal. But Diggs isn't the type to stay down for long. Those same sources say he's already motivated, ready to prove Dallas wrong. And let me tell you, the NFL is watching. Within hours of the announcement, at least 4 teams reportedly reached out to Diggs' camp. We're hearing rumblings from the Washington Commanders, the Philadelphia Eagles, yes, an NFC East rival, and even the Baltimore Ravens, who could use a playmaker like Diggs to bolster their secondary. The idea of Diggs suiting up for a division rival? That's the kind of drama that keeps NFL fans up at night. And then there's the family angle, because this story just keeps getting juicier. Trevon's brother, Buffalo Bills wide receiver Trevon Diggs, didn't waste any time weighing in. He posted a cryptic message on X that's got everyone talking, sometimes the ones you give the most to give you the least back. Ooh, that's not just a subtweet, that's a full-on shot across the bow. Trevon and Trevon are tight, and you know Trevon's got his brother's back. Could this spark a reunion down the road? Imagine Trevon signing with the Bills to play alongside his brother, creating a sibling duo that terrorizes the AFC. It's a long shot, but in the NFL stranger, things have happened. Now, let's shift gears and talk about what this means for the Cowboys' defense, because losing Trevon Diggs isn't a small tweak, it's a complete overhaul. The secondary is suddenly a massive question mark. Darren Bland, who emerged as a star in his own right last season, will have to step up in a big way. Bland led the NFL in interceptions in 2023, so he's no slouch, but he can't do it alone. Veterans like Stephon Gilmore, if he resigns, will need to provide stability. The Cowboys also drafted Shavon Revel Jr. in the 3rd round of the 2025 NFL Draft, a talented corner who could compete for a starting spot. But he's coming off his own ACL injury, so there's uncertainty there too. Depth is a concern. Leadership is a concern. And most of all, that X factor is a concern. Diggs had a presence on the field that forced quarterbacks to think twice. Without him, opposing offenses are licking their chops. The Cowboys front office isn't sitting still though. Stephen Jones, the team's executive vice president, faced the media just hours after the news broke, and he didn't mince words. "This was a football decision," he said, his tone calm but firm. "We have a tremendous amount of respect for Trevon and everything he's done for this organization, but at the end of the day, we have to make decisions that position us for long-term success. We believe this was one of those decisions." That's the corporate line, but fans aren't buying it. Stephen A. Smith, never one to shy away from a hot take, went off on his show. This is typical Dallas flash, drama, and chaos. He roared. How do you let a player like Trevon Diggs walk out the door when you're trying to build a Super Bowl defense? If they don't have something huge coming down the pipeline, this is going to haunt them. And that's the million-dollar question. What's next? The Cowboys don't make a move this big without a plan, or at least you'd hope they don't. Rumors are swirling about what Jerry Jones and company might be cooking up. One name that keeps popping up is Patrick Surtain, i.e., the Denver Broncos' star cornerback. Could Dallas be eyeing a blockbuster trade to bring in another elite corner to fill Diggs' shoes? Surtain is young, proven, and under contract for a few more years, exactly the kind of player Jerry loves to splash cash on. There's also talk about the 2025 NFL Draft. The Cowboys have 2 picks in the top 50, and with a deep class of cornerbacks, they could target a long-term replacement early. Or maybe they pivot entirely and focus on offense. On the flip side, if the Cowboys pull this off, it could be a masterstroke. Imagine a scenario where Bland and Revel step up, a trade for Surtain materializes, or a draft pick becomes the next big thing. Suddenly, Dallas has a younger, cheaper, and healthier secondary, with cap space to address other needs. It's a high-risk, high-reward move, and that's what makes it so polarizing. The NFL is a league of what-ifs, and right now, Cowboys fans are living in a world of hypotheticals. What if Diggs comes back stronger than ever? What if the Cowboys regret this for years? What if this is the spark that finally pushes Dallas back to the Super Bowl? Let's talk about the fans for a moment, because Cowboys Nation is unlike any other fan base in sports. They're passionate, they're loyal, and they're vocal. Today, they're hurting. Trevon Diggs wasn't just a player, he was one of their own. A kid from Alabama who came to Dallas, embraced the star on his helmet, and delivered highlight after highlight. His pick sixes, his celebrations, his energy, it was all part of the Cowboys' identity. Losing him feels personal, but Cowboys fans are also resilient. They've been through disappointments before decades, without a Super Bowl, countless playoff heartbreaks, and front office decisions that left them scratching their heads. They'll rally, they'll debate, and they'll keep showing up, because that's what Cowboys fans do. Before we wrap up, let's take a moment to reflect on what Trevon Diggs meant to Dallas. He wasn't perfect. His aggressive style led to some big plays given up, and his injury history raised legitimate concerns. But he was electric. He brought a spark that's hard to replace. His 2021 season, with those 11 interceptions, was one for the ages. He was the guy you tuned in to watch, the guy who could turn a game on its head in a single play. So, where do we go from here? For the Cowboys, it's about executing whatever plan they've got up their sleeve. Jerry Jones doesn't make moves like this to stay quiet, so expect something big: a trade, a signing, a draft surprise. For Diggs, it's about finding a new home and reminding the world why he's one of the best. And for us, the fans, it's about processing this roller coaster and gearing up for what promises to be a wild 2025 season. The NFL never sleeps, and stories like this are why we love it. That's all for now, folks. What do you think about the Cowboys' decision? Are you shocked, angry, or do you see the logic? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button, and subscribe for more NFL breaking news. This is just the beginning of the Trevon Diggs saga, and you won't want to miss what happens next. Until then, stay locked in, and let's keep talking football.